To start with, I was just a completely unremarkable janitor. The only thing special about me was that I could hear the background music and the internal commentary in people's heads. Later, I accidentally helped an intern who was about to be fired, allowing her to intercept a multi-million-dollar contractor boss was planning to steal. In the end, the whole company thought I was some sort of undercover genius, and the CEO treated me like his own son. But honestly, I just wanted to mop the floors in peace. My name is Frank Miller, and I'm a custodian. I work at Apex Global on the top floor of a downtown Manhattan skyscraper. The pay is $3,000 a month, weekends off, full benefits. I am satisfied. My only annoyance is that I can hear the voices in people's hearts. I didn't ask for this ability, it just showed up. I can't turn it off, I can't mute it. It's like a cheap surround sound system playing 24 hours a day. Take right now, for instance. I was mopping the floor while a symphony played in my ears. In front of me, the project director, Marcus Vance, a greasy, overweight man with a terrible comb-over, was speaking earnestly to the intern, Emily Clark. Emily, look, your proposal. The idea is there, but it's too immature. You haven't considered the market realities at all. While his mouth said that, his mind was belting out an aria. Ha! This little girl's core concept is brilliant. With a few tweaks and some repackaging, all the credit will go to my idiot nephew. Perfect. The mop of my hand paused. Here we go again. The classic corporate drama of the old guard bullying the rookie. The girl, Emily, was petite, wearing thick-rimmed glasses. She stood with her head down, gripping the hem of her jacket, so nervous she could barely speak. Mr. Vance, I really think this plan is feasible. I've researched the data. But inside, she was screaming. You just don't understand it. That data model is the industry standard. You dinosaur. You hack. You just want to shut me down. Art, I'm so mad. I almost laughed out loud. This girl, meek on the outside, a heavyweight boxer on the inside. Marcus tapped his sausage-like fingers on the desk, wearing a look that said, I'm doing this for your own good. Experience, Emily. What you lack is experience. Tell you what, leave the proposal with me. I'll have Kyle mentor you. Kyle was his nephew, a talent, with bleached hair who clocked in late and napped during meetings. I'll just have my nephew slap his name on it, and this quarter's bonus is secured. As for this girl, once her internship is up, I'll boot her. Save myself the trouble. Marcus's inner voice was as clear as thunder. Emily's eyes turned red instantly, but she didn't say anything. She just hugged her folder and walked silently back to her cubicle. The little figure in her mind was already crying like a baby. It's over, it's over. How am I going to pay rent this month? My mom is waiting for news that I got hired full-time. Why am I so useless? I sighed. 9 times out of 10, life doesn't go your way. I'm just a janitor. What could I do? I just wanted to finish mopping this section quietly and go to the cafeteria for a meatball sub. I picked up my bucket and meandered past Marcus's office. He was slamming Emily's proposal onto his nephew, Kyle Benson's desk. Here, copy this. No, use it as a reference. Change the data. Make the cover look pretty. You're presenting it at the afternoon meeting. Kyle was wearing headphones, gaming. He looked annoyed. So annoying. He wants me to work again? What is this trash? I'd rather play a few more rounds of rank. Uncle is so extra. Why not just fire the intern and be done with it? I shook my head and kept walking. As I passed the trash can, my foot slipped. Whoops! I cried out, knocking the bucket over accidentally. Clear water flooded the floor, swamping the trash can next to it, which was full of waste paper. Oh, my back! I clutched my waist, grimacing in pain. Everyone in the office looked over. Emily was the first to run to me. She had a good heart. Frank, are you okay? She steadied me. I'm fine, I said, pointing at the soaked trash can with a look of regret. It's just, the recycling guys are going to yell at me for wet paper. Miss, could I trouble you to help me pick out the sheets that aren't totally soaked so I can dry them? Emily didn't think twice. She nodded, bent down, and fished out several crumpled sheets of printer paper from the soggy bin. Only the corners were wet. One of them was the quarterly market analysis report that had been rejected last month. On it was the latest user profile analysis for Apex Global's biggest competitor, Velocity Tech. And this was exactly the key data missing from Emily's proposal. Marcus hadn't even looked at this report because he thought the marketing department was full of blowhards. He didn't know that this report was valuable enough to turn Emily's proposal from immature to perfect. Information asymmetry. Sometimes it's that simple. Emily held the papers. At first, she looked a bit disgusted, but when she saw the headers, she froze. She looked up at me with a complicated expression. I gave her a goofy smile, clutching my old waist. Oh, thank you, miss. You're a good person. She didn't speak, but the little person in her heart stopped crying. Instead, her mind filled with question marks and exclamation points. This is Velocity's user data? Why is it here? Is this fate? No, wait. This janitor, did he do it on purpose? Impossible. Don't overthink it, girl. I'm just a poor janitor who slipped. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Department meeting. Marcus sat at the head of the table, beaming. His nephew Kyle stood nervously by the projector like a schoolboy, ready to report on his plan. Ahem. Marcus cleared his throat. Today, Kyle will share our department's latest project concept regarding the Gen Z initiative. Kyle stammered through the PowerPoint. The content was almost exactly Emily's proposal, just wrapped in a flashy shell. I was wearing gloves, wiping the dust off a potted plant in the corner of the conference room, pretending to be part of the foliage. What is this stuff? Why don't I understand a word of it? If I'd known, I wouldn't have stayed up all night gaming. Kyle's inner voice was full of regret. Idiot. I told you to use it as a reference, not copy it word for word. You didn't even change the data. What if someone asked questions? Thank God I already deleted that intern's original file. Dead men tell no tales. Marcus was cursing internally, but his face maintained an approving smile. The other colleagues in the room had their own calculations. Nepotism again. He clearly didn't write this. Marcus looks disgusting when he gloats. Not my business. I'm not getting a bonus anyway. Hurry up, I need to pick up my kids. Just as Kyle reached the core creative section, there was a knock at the door. Emily walked in, clutching a laptop. She looked like a different person from this morning. Her hair was neatly combed, her heavy glasses were gone, and the timidity in her eyes was replaced by a burn-the-boats determination. Marcus's face darkened instantly. Emily Clark? What are you doing here? We are in an important meeting. Interns shouldn't interrupt. What is this girl doing? Mutiny? Emily ignored him. She walked straight to the conference table and bowed deeply. Executives, colleagues, I apologize for the interruption, but I must state that the Gen Z initiative, Mr. Benson is presenting, the core creative and most of the content was plagiarized from the proposal I submitted this morning. The room went into an uproar. Kyle's face turned beet red. You're talking nonsense. I thought of this myself. Holy crap. How does she dare? Uncle, save me. Marcus slammed the table and stood up, pointing at Emily. Emily, watch your mouth. You're just an intern. What proof do you have that the plan is yours? I can see you don't want to be hired full-time. It was a naked threat. But Emily was neither humble nor arrogant. She opened her laptop and connected it to the projector. Her proposal appeared on the screen. Compared to Kyle's flashy PPT, her version looked plain, but the logic was clear and layered. Most importantly, on the data analysis page, she had added the core data from the report she picked out of the trash. My proposal not only has a complete creative concept, but also detailed data support, specifically regarding the user churn analysis of our competitor, Velocity Tech. This part is unique to my proposal. She looked at Kyle, her gaze burning. Mr. Benson, could you please explain the specific meaning of the concept social currency for Gen Z mentioned in your plan? Or could you explain why your conclusion is the exact opposite of mine, which includes competitor data analysis? Kyle was tongue-tied, sweating profusely. Social currency? What is that? Can buy skins? It's over, I'm gonna get busted. The conference room was dead silent. Everyone's eyes shifted from Kyle to Marcus. Marcus's face went from red to purple, then purple to black. A wonderful display. He never expected Emily to not only dare to confront them, but to produce an upgraded version of the plan. Where the hell did she get that competitor data? His mind was in turmoil, but his mouth kept bluffing. Total nonsense. This is just grandstanding. This is slander. I'm reporting this to HR to have you fired immediately. I have to get rid of her. Otherwise, where do I put my face? Damn it. How did this little girl suddenly get so tough? Is someone coaching her from the shadows? His eyes swept the room and finally landed on me. I was diligently wiping the leaf of a clivia plant, focused as if the future of humanity depended on that leaf. He frowned, then shook the ridiculous thought from his head. A janitor? Impossible. It must be a coincidence. Just then, the conference room doors were pushed open again. This time, it was the founder of Apex Global, the legendary big boss, Arthur Sterling. A man in his 50s, wearing a sharp three-piece suit, with an aura strong enough to drop the room temperature by 5 degrees. 2 expressionless assistants followed him. I just arrived, and I hear someone wants to fire my employee. Sterling's voice wasn't loud, but everyone in the room shivered. The fat on Marcus's face trembled, and he immediately put on a sycophantic smile, rushing forward. Mr. Sterling, what brings you here? It's a small matter, just a small matter. An unruly intern causing trouble. Sterling didn't look at him. His gaze went straight to the projector screen, to the proposal with the competitor data. Inside, he had only one cold thought. Velocity's user data? Interesting. Sterling's appearance was like a boulder crashing into a pond. The atmosphere in the room solidified. Cold sweat trickled down Marcus's forehead. He had only one thought. Crap. Why is the big boss involved? He hates internal fighting and plagiarism the most. Am I going to go down today? Sterling ignored Marcus's fawning. He walked to the table, pointed at the proposal on the screen, and asked Emily, "You wrote this?" His voice was calm, betraying no emotion. Emily nodded nervously. Yes, mister. Sterling, this girl has guts. Not bad. Sterling's inner voice surprised me. What's your name? Emily Clark. Good. Sterling nodded, then turned to the pale-faced Kyle. And you? What do you have to say? Kyle's legs went soft. He looked tremblingly at his Uncle Marcus. Marcus hurriedly tried to smooth things over. Mr. Sterling, Kyle is young. Maybe when he was referencing materials, he didn't grasp the boundaries. Young people, they need chances. Idiot. Useless. You only know to look at me when it hits the fan. I'm losing so much face. I have to save him. If he gets fired, my sister will skin me alive. Marcus's internal screaming was practically hoarse. Sterling's lips curled into a cold arc. Referencing? To me, it looks like Control plus C, then Control plus V. He picked up the two printed proposals from the table. Marcus, you're the project director. Explain to me why the similarity between these two plans exceeds 90%. And this one, he held up Emily's, is clearly deeper than the other. Who do you think referenced him? Marcus's sweat had soaked through the back of his shirt. He knew this couldn't end well, but he wanted to make one last struggle. Mr. Sterling, there must be a misunderstanding. Emily is just an intern. How could she access core data regarding Velocity Tech? We haven't even received that data internally. The source of her data is problematic. I suspect she stole company secrets. Yes, counter accuse. As long as I prove her data source is illegal, she loses. I'm a genius. Marcus felt a burst of secret joy at his quick wit. This move was indeed vicious. If Emily couldn't explain the source, it wouldn't be plagiarism anymore. It would be corporate espionage. Everyone's eyes focused on Emily. The girl's face went pale again, and she subconsciously clenched her fists. She couldn't say she got the data from the trash. Can the janitor accidentally soaked? Could she? Who would believe that? What do I do? What do I do? What should I say? Am I really going to be fired? Her inner voice was full of despair. I sighed, picked up my rag, and slowly walked to the trash to clean up the mess. As I tidied up, I muttered to myself, loud enough for everyone in the room to hear. Man, young people these days really don't cherish things. Throwing away such important data reports just like that. I fished a few more sheets out of the wet waste paper, shaking the water off them regretfully. Isn't this the marketing department's report from last month? I remember they got yelled at after the meeting, told the report was useless. I watched their supervisor throw it into the shredder. Oh no, into this to be destroyed bin. I emphasized the words to be destroyed. Then, as if suddenly realizing something, I pointed to an inconspicuous red stamp on the report and said to the supervisor nearest me, "Look, it's stamped internal circulation, non-commercial use. This stuff shouldn't count as a secret, right?" The supervisor nodded blankly. Marcus's face instantly turned the color of raw liver. He knew that report. He had mocked the marketing team as useless for spending a month producing such garbage. He never dreamed that the report he treated as trash would be the straw that broke the camel's back. Sterling's gaze finally moved away from the proposal and landed squarely on me, the janitor, for the first time. He didn't speak, but inside, a massive wave surged. A janitor? How would he know about this report? And know it was to be destroyed? Every word he just said seemed calculated to get this girl out of trouble. Coincidence? Are there really so many coincidences in the world? I lowered my head and continued my humble mopping, the unsung hero of the office. Don't look at me. I don't know anything. I'm just an innocent, weak, and pitiful janitor. Apex Global's biggest client of the year, known as the Bear of the North, Jack Bronson, was coming to inspect the company tomorrow. This deal was worth over $100 million. Whoever landed it could walk sideways through the office. Marcus had gone all out for this project. He used every connection, sparing no expense, bribing Bronson's driver to get Bronson's preferences. Allegedly, Bronson was a man of grand gestures who loved luxury and expensive aged scotch. So, Marcus booked the city's top hotel and prepared a lavish welcome banquet. He wanted to use this to turn his luck around. And the person responsible for the reception was his idiot nephew, Kyle. This was the result of Marcus fighting to keep him. Officially, it was so Kyle could atone for his crimes. After the plagiarism incident, Sterling didn't fire Marcus on the spot, but docked his bonus for 3 months and promoted Emily to full-time early, putting her directly on the Bear the North project. This made Marcus grind his teeth in hatred. Little brat, don't get cocky. Wait until I secure Bronson, then see how I deal with you. And that damn janitor. Something feels off about him. I need to find a chance to teach him a lesson. As I mopped past his office, his inner voice was full of venom. I ignored him and continued my work. That afternoon, while I was washing the mop in the pantry, Emily walked in holding a cup of coffee. She hesitated, walked up to me, and whispered, "Frank, thank you for the other day. I played dumb." "Thank me for what? Spilling water?" She giggled, her eyes curving into crescents. "Frank, stop pretending. I know you helped me. This old guy is definitely not ordinary. The way he looks at me, it's like he knows everything. Is he the legendary undercover boss experiencing life? Girl, your imagination is a bit too rich. I'm just a janitor who wants to clock out on time. I just got lucky." I gave a simple smile. "But you, young lady, I heard you were put on that Bear the North project too?" She nodded, then her face fell. "Yeah, but Marcus won't let me touch the core work. He just makes me print files and order takeout. He handled the reception plan himself." I looked at it. It's just a pile of extravagance. I feel like something's wrong. The files say Bronson came from humble beginnings and is self-made. Would a guy like that really like wasteful luxury? I'm so panicked. If this gets messed up, the company loses big. Her worry wasn't unreasonable. Just then, a strange, booming voice crashed into my brain. Damn it, these bastards want to drown me in scotch again. I'm allergic to alcohol. 1 drop knocks me out. Are they trying to kill me here? In that top-tier hotel, it smells like pure formaldehyde. The air isn't even as good as the fish pond back in my hometown. If they pull this stunt again, the contract is off the table. This inner voice was full of irritability and impatience. I paused. The only person in the entire Apex Global building who could have these thoughts, besides the incoming Bear of the North, Jack Bronson, was nobody. But he should still be thousands of miles away in the North. How was his voice transmitting here? Did my ability upgrade? Remote reception. I didn't have time to dwell on it. A more important piece of information grabbed me. Alcohol allergy. Hates the smell of formaldehyde. Likes fish ponds. This was the complete opposite of the intel Marcus had bought. If they went with Marcus's plan, tomorrow's cooperation would fail 100%. And judging by the resentment in Bronson's thoughts, Apex Global would likely be blacklisted forever. I looked at the worried Emily beside me and sighed. Oh, my damn, misplaced kindness. I put down the mop and leaned mysteriously close to Emily. Hey kid, let me tell you a secret, but don't tell anyone. What? Back in my hometown, there's a reservoir. The fish there are huge and fat. The black carp especially. Standing up, they're taller than a person. Cooked in a simple farmhouse stew, that taste. TSK, TSK. I smacked my lips as I spoke, as if savoring some heavenly delicacy. Emily looked blank. Frank, why are you telling me this? Just making conversation. I patted her shoulder. Sometimes, the more important the guest, the more they like simple things. After eating delicacies from mountains and seas, occasionally tasting a farm meal is the real surprise. Don't you think? With that, I picked up my mop and walked away, acting like the unsung hero, leaving Emily alone in the pantry, staring at her coffee. The little person in her heart started spinning frantically. Farm meal? Reservoir? Surprise? What does Frank mean? Is he hinting at something? Does Bronson not like luxury, but prefers fishing? Oh my God, how is that possible? Is Marcus's intel fake? What do I do? Do I trust Marcus or trust a janitor? Girl, this isn't a multiple choice question. It's all up to your intuition. The next morning at 10 o'clock, the atmosphere in the Apex Global Conference Room was tense enough to wring water from. Sterling sat at the head, his face dark as water. Marcus stood beside him, looking like a defeated rooster, head drooping. Just half an hour ago, bad news arrived. Kyle, who was in charge of picking up Bronson, had food poisoning, vomiting and diarrhea, taken away by an ambulance. What was worse, he had saved all the hotel reservations and car arrangement confirmations on his personal phone, which was now turned off. Bronson's plane was landing in an hour. There was no time to rearrange everything. Idiots. A bunch of idiots. Sterling finally exploded, slamming his cup onto the table. $100 million project, and this is how you handle it? Marcus, this is your atonement? A bunch of useless idiots. dropping the ball at the critical moment. If anything goes wrong with Bronson, you're all fired. Sterling's inner voice was suppressed rage. Marcus was sweating like rain, trembling as he said, Mr. Sterling, I'll think of something immediately. I'll go pick him up myself. You go? Do you know which hotel Bronson is staying at? Do you know which car to use? Do you know where the banquet is? Sterling fired a string of questions that left Marcus speechless. How would I know? That idiot nephew didn't tell me anything. I'm dead. The conference room was deathly silent. No one dared to speak. Just then, Emily, who had been standing in the corner, suddenly spoke up. Mr. Sterling, I have a backup plan. Everyone's eyes focused on her. Sterling looked up at her. Speak. I suggest we cancel all hotel and banquet arrangements. Emily took a deep breath, going all in. We sent a plain minivan to pick up Mr. Bronson directly from the airport and then take him to the Green Cloud Reservoir in the suburbs. What? Marcus was the first to jump up. Emily, are you crazy? Take Mr. Bronson to a godforsaken reservoir? Do you want to destroy the company? This girl is absolutely insane. Coming up with such a rotten idea. Perfect. I'll dump the blame on her. Emily ignored him, looking only at Sterling with determined eyes. Mr. Sterling, I investigated. Mr. Bronson grew up in a fishing village. His biggest hobby is fishing. Rather than entertaining him with a luxury he's tired of, we should give him what he likes. A surprise. Nonsense. Marcus was still roaring. My intel says Bronson clearly loves excitement and scotch. Sterling's gaze shifted back and forth between Marcus and Emily. He was silent. He was weighing the options. In his heart, he actually felt Marcus's plan was unreliable. This girl is either a genius or a lunatic. Where's her intel coming from? Could it be? His eyes unconsciously drifted to the conference room door. I was pushing my janitor cart past, stocked with fresh trash bags and disinfectant. I felt his gaze, so I looked up and gave him a goofy smile. Then I lowered my head, muttering softly, the weather is so nice today. Perfect for fishing. Too bad I have to work. My voice was quiet, but in the silent hallway, it drifted into the conference room. Sterling's body gave an imperceptible jolt. A bold decision formed in his mind. Gamble. Trust this girl. And trust my own intuition. He slammed the table and stood up. Do as Emily says. He told his assistant. Arrange a minivan immediately. Notify Green Cloud Reservoir to clear the area. Highest priority. Get their best fishing gear and freshest ingredients ready. Then he pointed at Emily. You, come with me to the airport. Marcus was completely dumbfounded. Crazy. They're all crazy. The boss actually trusts an intern and a janitor. It's over. Apex Global is finished. I pushed my cart, slowly disappearing at the end of the hallway. Behind me were Marcus's despairing thoughts and Emily's complex mix of excitement and anxiety. And in my mind, there was only one thought. The farmhouse stewed fish at Green Cloud Reservoir. I wonder if I can mooch a bite of it this afternoon. Airport VIP exit. A burly, dark-skinned man walked out surrounded by bodyguards. This was the Bear of the North, Jack Bronson. He was expressionless, but inside he was already very unhappy. Suits and formalities again. Looking at them annoys me. Are we going to some ghost hotel to listen to nonsense and pretend to drink? Damn it. I'd rather watch fishing videos in my office. He was ready to turn around and leave. However, the group from Apex Global greeting him made him pause. No flowers, no banners. Just an old man in a tailored suit, Sterling, and a capable-looking young woman, Emily. Behind them sat a plain Buick minivan. Mr. Bronson, welcome. Sterling extended his hand proactively. I'm Arthur Sterling of Apex Global. Bronson shook his hand, internally surprised. Arthur Sterling? The boss of Apex? He came personally? Interesting. But this setup is too shabby, isn't it? Sterling seemed not to see the doubt in his eyes and smiled. Mr. Bronson, knowing you dislike pretentious displays, we arranged a special program for you today. I hope you like it. Saying this, he gestured towards the car. The door opened, and Bronson saw a brand-new, top-of-the-line set of fishing gear on the seat. Bronson's eyes lit up instantly. He was a fishing fanatic. He recognized the value of the gear at a glance. But he cared more about the thought behind it. A Daiwa Moon limited edition. How? How'd they know I wanted this? The frost on his face melted a little. Sterling, this is... Mr. Bronson. I know you're an expert, Sterling smiled. I heard Green Cloud Reservoir has been yielding some big ones lately. I thought, rather than wasting time at a dinner table, why don't we go to the water? We can cast a few lines and talk business. What do you say? Bronson froze for a full 3 seconds. Then he slapped his thigh and laughed loudly. Good. Sterling, You are a friend worth having. The barrage in his heart changed from complaints to ecstasy. Holy crap. God-tier arrangement. Now, this is a reception. They know I like fishing and prepared top-tier gear. This Sterling is a real character. 100 times better than those idiots who only know how to push alcohol. He strode to the car, ignoring the confused bodyguards and assistants behind him. The car drove smoothly toward the suburbs. In the car, Bronson and Sterling chatted happily about everything from fishing techniques to bait recipes, acting like long-lost brothers. Emily sat aside, nervously recording key points, her admiration for me swelling like a rushing river. Frank, you are my god. How did you calculate this? Were you really? An hour later, Green Cloud Reservoir. Beautiful scenery, fresh air. Bronson changed into casual clothes, held a fishing rod, and sat by the water, completely relaxed. Sterling, to be honest, this is the most comfortable day I've had in 3 years. Sterling smiled. I'm glad you like it. Nice place. Nice guy. Looks like this deal is happening. Bronson's inner voice had shifted from happening to secured. At noon, the farmhouse restaurant by the reservoir served a black carp that had just been caught. No complex cooking, just simple green onions, ginger, and garlic stewed into a pot of milky white fish soup. Bronson took a sip of the soup, his eyes narrowing in pleasure. Fresh. He drank 3 bowls in one go, then put down the bowl and wiped his mouth. Sterling, the contract is settled. Let the subordinates handle the specific terms. I have only one request. The contact person for this project must be this young lady, Emily. He pointed at Emily. Emily was overwhelmed and stood up quickly. The project Marcus had schemed so hard to get was secured by her, an intern. No, now a full-time employee, right there by the reservoir over fish soup. Sterling gave her a meaningful look and nodded. Agreed. This girl has guts and insight. Most importantly, she understands me. Much better than those bootlickers in my company. Bronson's thoughts were the highest praise for Emily. And the hero behind the scenes, me, Frank Miller, was currently squatting in the Apex Global Cafeteria, slurping a bowl of instant noodles with 2 added eggs. My phone buzzed. It was a WeChat message from Emily. A photo of the scenery at Green Cloud Reservoir and a photo of the steaming fish soup. Below was a line of text. Frank, I saved some soup for you. I'll bring it to you tonight. I smiled and typed 2 words. Thanks. Then I continued slurping my noodles, keeping a low profile. I became famous. Not on the internet, but inside Apex Global. Ever since the Bronson project was settled, I became a legend in the company. Everyone knew that the intern Emily Clark landed a $100 million deal with a bizarre fishing trip proposal. And the inspiration for this plan, rumor had it, came from me, the janitor. So, all kinds of rumors started spreading like wildfire. Some said I was Sterling's long-lost relative, here to experience life at the grassroots level. Some said I was a retired business tycoon, and sweeping floors was just my hobby. Even more ridiculous, some said I came from Shaolin Temple and had mind-reading skills to see through people's hearts. That last one was closest to the truth, but nobody believed it. Now, wherever I went, I garnered looks of awe. The admin girl who used to boss me around now proactively handed me water. Oh my God, is this the legendary sweeping monk? He looks so ordinary, but his eyes are so deep. Miss, I just haven't slept enough. The programmers who used to throw trash on the floor had just mopped, now carefully placed their empty coffee cups into the bin on my card. Can't offend the big shot. What if he gets unhappy and tells Sterling there's a bug in my code? Bro, you're overthinking it. I don't even know what C language is. The most miserable one was Marcus. Now when he saw me, it was like a mouse seeing a cat. He walked around me. His project stolen, his nephew effectively exiled to the logistics warehouse. He had become the laughingstock of the entire company. It's all this janitor. He definitely pulled some strings. Don't let me catch you slipping, or I'll kill you. His inner voice was as venomous as ever. But I didn't care. My life didn't change because of these rumors. I still push my cart every day, mopping floor by floor, cleaning windows, emptying trash. Only, the work became much smoother. Until that afternoon, I was wiping the leaves of the giant money tree in the CEO's office. Sterling suddenly stopped me. Mr. Miller. He actually called me Mr. I was flattered and quickly put down my rag. Mr. Sterling, just call me Frank. He gestured for me to sit on the genuine leather sofa opposite him, rumored to cost tens of thousands. I only dare to sit on the edge. Frank, how long have you been with the company? He poured me a cup of coffee personally. Over 3 years, Mr. Sterling. How do you find the company? It's good. The cafeteria food is nice. That was all I could come up with. Sterling smiled. But inside he was thinking, still pretending. This Frank is interesting. From Emily's proposal to Bronson's reception, which event didn't have his shadow? Who is he really? He kept a straight face and continued. Frank, what's your take on Manager Vance? This was a test. My brain spun fast. What could I say? That he's a credit-stealing, nepotistic, petty fat guy. That would be bad-mouthing someone behind their back. I'm a janitor. I can't break character. I thought for a moment and said in simple language, Manager Vance has authority. It's just, the trash in his office is a bit more than others. Especially empty supplement bottles. Sterling's hand holding the coffee cup paused in midair. He was smart. He immediately understood my meaning. Rumors of Marcus embezzling funds to buy high-end supplements had been floating around, but there was no proof. And I, a janitor, pointed this out in the most reasonable way. More trash. Supplement bottles. Ha ha ha. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. This Frank isn't playing dumb. He's hiding wisdom beneath foolishness. Sterling was laughing inside, though his face remained calm. Is that so? Then pay more attention in the future. The company's hygiene environment is very important. He changed the subject. Frank, what do you think is the most important thing for a company? Another lethal question. Should I say talent? Innovation? Management? Too bookish. I scratched my head and said, I think. It's the plumbing. Sterling paused. The plumbing. Yeah, I said seriously. If the pipes get clogged, the whole building suffers. If the dirty stuff can't get out, the fresh stuff can't get in. A company should be the same, right? You got to clear out the garbage blocking the pipes so things flow smoothly. I was referring to Marcus and garbage like him. I believed Sterling would understand. Sure enough, Sterling fell silent. He looked at me for a long, long time. It was a look like he had discovered a new continent. In his mind, one word appeared repeatedly. Talent. This is a talent. A sweeping monk. A true hidden master. My Apex Global actually has such a giant Buddha hiding in it. After a long while, he stood up, walked over to me, and patted my shoulder. Frank, would you be willing to change positions? My heart skipped a beat. Mr. Sterling, are the floors not clean enough? No, he mopped very well. Sterling's expression was more serious than ever. I want to hire you as my special assistant. You don't need to do anything else, just like me, wander around the company every day. If you see anything unclean, tell me directly. I was dumbfounded. Wasn't this being an imperial inspector? I need a sharp knife, a knife that can help me remove the internal tumors of the company. And this Frank, looking like a rag, is actually sharper than anyone. Sterling's inner voice was full of expectation. I looked at his sincere eyes, then thought about my $3,000 salary. I swallowed and asked tentatively, Mr. Sterling, this special assistant, how much is the pay? Annual salary, $150,000. What do you say? I felt my heartbeat skip a beat. Frank Miller, the janitor, seemed like I was getting promoted. I became the chairman's special assistant. This news was like a bomb going off in Apex Global. When I took off my gray uniform and put on a custom suit Sterling had specially prepared for me, the whole company boiled over. Oh my God, the rumors are true. Frank, no, Assistant Miller, really is a big shot experiencing life. I told you he wasn't ordinary. Look at that aura, those eyes. Unfathomable. Holy crap, a floor sweeper can become a chairman's assistant. This world is too fantasy. I need to go suck up to him. Crap. I asked him to grab my takeout before. He won't hold a grudge, right? Wherever I went, I heard similar thoughts. I wasn't used to it, especially this suit, stiff and hard, not as comfortable as my uniform. My job description was simple. Follow Sterling, or wander around the company alone, ostensibly inspecting. In reality, Sterling gave me a legitimate identity to be his human sonar, to listen to the noise of the entire company. When Marcus saw me, his face turned green. He squeezed out a smile uglier than crying. Frank, congrats on the promotion. Small-time crook getting lucky. A sweeper actually climbed over my head. Bah, don't let me catch you slipping. His inner voice was still so energetic. I nodded, imitating Sterling, and patted his shoulder. Marcus, we're colleagues now. Let's look out for each other. By the way, remember to sort the trash in your office. I was referring to the trash, evidence of him taking kickbacks from suppliers. Marcus's face turned white instantly. What does he know? Impossible. I was so secretive. He must be bluffing. I ignored him and walked past. Becoming an assistant, my hearing range seemed to expand too. I could now clearly distinguish the source of every voice, even hearing whispers of executives in encrypted conference rooms. That afternoon, I passed the finance department. The CFO, Leonard, was huddled with Marcus, acting sneaky. Marcus, you went too far this time. The hole in that account is too big. I can't smooth it over. Leonard's thoughts were anxious. What are you afraid of? Marcus kept his voice low, but his inner voice was loud. We split that money 50-50. You take your share to buy a house for your son overseas. I'll use mine to fill other holes. As long as we don't speak, who will know? This Leonard is a coward. Once this blows over, I'll figure out a way to get rid of that janitor named Miller. A sweeper thinks he can turn the sky upside down? I leaned against the corner, pretending to look at my phone. Inside, I recorded their conversation word for word. Embezzlement, cooking books, selling company secrets. Marcus's corruption went deeper than I imagined. He was like a giant ball of grease clogging the company's sewer. If I didn't flush him out, Apex Global was doomed. I returned to Sterling's office and reported my findings exactly. Of course, I didn't say I could hear thoughts. My story was, Mr. Sterling, I just passed the finance department and saw Marcus and Leonard looking at a spreadsheet with weird expressions. I accidentally heard them mention words like hole and buying a house overseas. I disguised myself as a king of coincidence with insane luck. After listening, Sterling's face was terrifyingly dark. He didn't speak, just paced the office. Killing intent surged in his heart. Marcus Vance. Leonard, you have some nerve. Holding this under my nose. Do you really think Arthur Sterling is a pushover? Frank. He stopped and looked at me. You did well. But now is not the time to alert the snake. I want you to keep listening. Hear out the entire chain of evidence for me. At the year-end summary meeting, I want them buried forever. I nodded. Understood, Mr. Sterling. Looks like a storm is coming. And I, the former janitor, will be the butterfly that starts it. 1 week until the year-end summary meeting. The atmosphere in the company grew stranger. Marcus's gang seemed to sense something. Their actions became more secretive. But they didn't know everything they did was under my surveillance. I was like a ghost, wandering every corner of the company. In the pantry, I heard Marcus on the phone with a supplier discussing how to disguise a kickback as technical consulting fees. In the smoking area, I heard Leonard bragging to his wife about the overseas property he eyed. In the underground garage, I even heard Marcus and his cousin, an executive at the rival Velocity Tech, conspiring to leak Apex Global's core product plan at the summary meeting as his entry ticket to jump ship. Once I strip Apex naked, I'll go be VP at Velocity. Then, Sterling, you won't even be fit to shine my shoes. Marcus's thoughts were full of madness and greed. I compiled all this info and gave it to Sterling. Every time, my excuse was, I accidentally heard it when I walked by. Sterling went from initial shock to acceptance. He looked at me more and more like I was a monster. Frank, who exactly is he? Is he really a living god? This luck is too god-tier, isn't it? He even privately investigated my ancestry, only to find I was a regular farmer's son with a resume as clean as white paper. This made him believe even more that I was the chosen one. That day, Emily came to me with red eyes. She was now a rising star in the project department, but Marcus was still making her life hard. Assistant Miller, she called me by my title now. Marcus. He locked up the market prediction model our team worked so hard on. He won't let us use it. Without this model, we can't do the year-end report. That old bastard. He's jealous of me. He can't produce results himself, so he won't let others succeed. The girl was cursing fiercely inside. I patted her shoulder and comforted her. Don't worry, there will be a way. I turned and went to Marcus's office. He was on the phone. Seeing me enter, he hung up immediately, looking wary. Assistant Miller, what can I do for you? I smiled and pointed to a USB drive on his desk. Marcus, I saw you left this drive in the pantry earlier. Brought it back to you. Marcus froze. He subconsciously patted his pocket. His encrypted drive was right there in his pocket. The one on the desk was a dummy drive for unimportant files. He immediately started cursing internally. What is this sweeper doing? Is he psycho? But outwardly he said, Oh, thank you, Frank. I put the drive on his desk and turned to leave. In a split second, I turned. Using the sleight of hand I perfected over 3 years as a janitor, I swapped the encrypted drive in his pocket with the dummy drive on the desk. When wiping tables, swiping a drive is unnoticed by gods or ghosts. Marcus noticed nothing. He picked up the dummy drive I swapped, plugged it in, saw useless files, and sneered. Playing tricks. I clutched the burning hot encrypted drive containing all his dirt and walked out of his office. Passing Emily's cubicle, I accidentally dropped the drive. Oops. I bent down to pick it up. Emily bent down at the same time. I lost my grip, and the drive slid further, right under her chair. Emily, you're young, good back. Help me grab that. My old back is shot. I held my waist, looking pained. Emily didn't think much of it, crawled under the desk, picked up the drive, and handed it to me. Here, Assistant Miller. I took the drive and put it solemnly in my pocket. Thanks. I walked away. Emily returned to her seat, continuing to worry about her report. A moment later, she suddenly realized that under her keyboard, unbeknownst to her, lay an identical USB drive. She froze. She looked at the one in her hand, then remembered my slip earlier. An impossible thought rose in her mind. Could it be? Her hands trembling, she plugged the drive into her computer. Inside, not only was there her team's market prediction model, there were Marcus's corruption accounts, call recordings with suppliers, and the detailed company secrets he planned to sell to Velocity Tech. Emily covered her mouth, too shocked to speak. She watched my retreating back, the little person in her heart kneeling down to me. Assistant Miller. No, God Miller. Please accept my worship. The year-end summary meeting arrived as scheduled. All of Apex Global's top brass gathered, the atmosphere solemn. Sterling sat in the center, expressionless, but those who knew him knew this was the calm before the storm. As the special assistant, I sat behind him like an emotionless background board. The meeting began. Department heads took turns on stage. When it was Marcus's turn, he adjusted his tie and walked up, beaming. He looked full of confidence today. Today is my curtain call, Marcus Vance's rebirth. Once I throw out Apex's trump card, the VP spot at Velocity is mine. Sterling, wait to shine my shoes. His ego had inflated to the max. He opened his PPT and started his speech. The beginning was grandiose nonsense, bragging about his department's great achievements. Halfway through, he shifted gears. Of course, we must be aware of crises. We must face our competitors. For example, Velocity Tech. According to insider information I received, next year they will launch an era-defining product, codenamed Apocalypse, which will completely overturn our current market standing. He deliberately emphasized the words insider information, wearing a pained expression as if he really cared about the company. The unknowing executives in the audience started whispering. Marcus was very satisfied with the effect. He wanted to create panic, hit Apex Global's stock price and morale. Yes, just like that. Panic. Chaos. When your stock tanks, that's my best bargaining chip with Velocity. He was preparing to continue and reveal the core details of the Apocalypse plan. Sterling suddenly spoke, his voice not loud, but clearly heard across the venue. Marcus, this Apocalypse plan you mentioned is very interesting. He paused, turning his gaze to me. Frank, you like wandering around. Have you heard anything interesting? Here we go. My turn. I stood up, cleared my throat, and said in my plainest tone, Report, Mr. Sterling. I haven't heard of any Apocalypse plan. However, a few days ago, while I was cleaning, I accidentally found some paper strips that weren't fully shredded by Marcus's shredder. I pulled out a few strips of paper from my pocket that I had painstakingly taped together. It seems to say something about technical consulting fee, transfer record, and an overseas account number. My eyes aren't good. I can't see clearly. I handed the strips to Sterling. Marcus's face turned white instantly. The shredder? Impossible. I watched it shred. This janitor. How could he? Before he could recover from the shock, another voice rang out. It was Emily. She stood up, holding a USB drive. Mr. Sterling, I also found something here. It's a drive Marcus accidentally dropped at my cubicle. Inside, there are recordings of calls between him and executives at our competitor Velocity Tech and a document. Detailed data on our company's core product, Hidden Dragon Plan, which he prepared to announce at the meeting today. Boom! The room exploded. If my shredded strips were just a glancing blow, Emily's USB drive was a sledgehammer, selling core company secrets. This was a mortal sin no company could tolerate. Marcus's legs went soft, and he almost collapsed. He pointed at us, lips trembling. You, slandering me. This is a setup, a frame-up. It's over. It's all over. How do they have these things? My drive was swapped. It was that janitor. It must be him. He finally figured it out, but it was too late. Sterling stood up, no trace of a smile on his face, replaced by cold, killing intent. Marcus Vance, what do you have to say? Marcus wanted to deny it, but the conference room doors opened. Several people in uniforms with serious expressions walked in. The leader showed his badge to Sterling. Mr. Sterling, we are from the Economic Crimes Division. We receive a report suspecting executives Marcus Vance and Leonard of embezzlement, commercial bribery, and leaking trade secrets. We need them to come with us for investigation. Marcus and CFO Leonard instantly looked like death. They knew it was all over. Under the gaze of the entire company's leadership, they were dragged out of the venue like dead dogs. An elaborately planned conspiracy ended just like that. and I, the initial fuse, just silently sat back in my seat, an unsung hero. I looked out the window as the neon lights of the CBD began to light up. I had only one thought. Is the cafeteria serving burgers tonight? Marcus's gang was uprooted, and Apex Global underwent a top-down purge. The garbage in the company, those who slacked off or formed cliques, was cleaned out. The company atmosphere was revitalized. Because of her contribution in reporting the crime and her outstanding ability, Emily was exceptionally promoted to head the newly established Innovation Project Department with a limitless future. And I, the sweeping monk, became a godlike existence in the company. No one knew exactly how I did it. They only knew that this ordinary-looking assistant Miller was the person Sterling trusted most, the company's anchor. Wherever I went, there were respectful gazes and thoughts. God, Miller, please bless me to hit my KPIs this month. Big Boss Miller, please don't look at my screen. I'm not slacking. I'm learning. Assistant Miller wore this dark gray suit again today. Indeed, the big boss's taste is unpretentious. I really want to tell them, I just think this color hides dirt well. I still wasn't used to being an assistant. I miss my days as a janitor. Tired, yes, but free. Mopping floors, cleaning windows, listening to gossip, thinking about dinner. How good was that? Now, every day wearing this uncomfortable suit, following Sterling to meetings I didn't understand, facing people I didn't know. What they said and what they thought were two different things. I felt like a processor handling massive amounts of garbage information every day. Tired heart. That day, I finally couldn't take it. I walked into Sterling's office and placed a resignation letter on his desk. Mr. Sterling, I want to quit. Sterling was practicing calligraphy. He didn't even look up. Reason? I'm not fit to be an assistant. I told the truth. I still feel mopping suits me better. Sterling finally looked up. He put down his brush and looked at me with a faint smile. Frank, tell me the truth. Do you have some superpowers? My heart jumped. This kid pretending for so long. Finally showing his hand? Mind reading? Super hearing? Or predicting the future? Whatever it is, Apex Global cannot let him go. His inner voice was full of determination. I shook my head, looking innocent. Mr. Sterling, what are you saying? I'm just an ordinary guy, just a bit lucky. I die before admitting it. Lucky? Sterling laughed. Lucky enough to find key data in a trash can? Lucky enough to guess Bronson's thoughts? Lucky enough to casually swap Marcus's evidence drive? With every sentence, my heart sank a little. He knew everything. Frank, oh Frank, Sterling stood up, walked to me, patted my shoulder, and spoke earnestly. You aren't lucky. You are Apex Global's luck. How could I let a talent like you go? Stop with the you. He threw my resignation letter into the shredder. I give you two choices. 1, continue being your special assistant. I double your salary, plus company stock options. Just consider it sweeping in a different place, except you're sweeping the garbage in people's hearts. 2, he paused, revealing a sly smile. If you really want to mop, fine. The cleaning of the CEO's office is contracted to you from now on, but your position and salary as assistant remain unchanged. I was dumbfounded. What kind of tyrannical clause was this? Want to run? Not a chance. You human sonar, human cheat code. I have to keep you tied to the company. With you here, let's see who dares to play tricks on me. Sterling's thoughts were full of capitalist wickedness. I looked at his sincere, cunning eyes, then thought about the doubled salary and stock options. Frank Miller, a janitor with principles. It seemed not non-negotiable. I sighed, accepting my fate. All right, Mr. Sterling. Then I choose option 2. I still like the feeling of mopping. Grounding. So, the weirdest scene in history appeared at Apex Global. The chairman's special assistant, Frank Miller, with $1 million salary and stock options, worked every day wearing a priceless custom suit, pushing an equally priceless smart cleaning cart, mopping the floor in the CEO's office. Everyone thought Assistant Miller was practicing Zen, that he was experiencing a state of returning to simplicity. Only I knew I just simply liked mopping. Sometimes after a meeting, Sterling would sit on the sofa, drinking tea, watching me mop. He felt watching me mop was a pleasure, because when I mopped, my mind was clear of distractions, only thinking about how to get the floor cleaner. His focus made him feel at peace. This Frank is truly a treasure. With him here, I sleep much sounder. Listening to his thoughts, I waved the mop with more vigor. Mr. Sterling, you're at peace, but my lying flat retirement plan failed. That day, Emily came to report to Sterling. Seeing me cleaning the window, she froze for a second, then smiled at me. Assistant Miller, practicing Zen again? Assistant Miller is so handsome. Men working hard are the most charming. Just the job content is a bit unique. I nodded to her and continued wiping my glass. When she finished reporting and came out, she walked to me and handed me a bento box. Frank, I made some lasagna. Taste it. The girl's face was a bit red. Will he like it? I follow my mom's secret recipe. I hope he can appreciate how I feel. I smelled the enticing aroma, and my stomach growled uncooperatively. I took the bento box and gave a goofy smile. Thank you, Emily. I decided. Although my plan to slack off failed, getting a different homemade meal every day seems not too bad. I, Frank Miller, a mind-reading janitor. My story seems to have just begun. Epilogue late at night. I returned to my small rented studio apartment. Took off that expensive suit, put on my favorite tank top and boxers. Then, from under the bed, I dragged out a huge storage bin. Opened the box. It wasn't gold bars, it wasn't cash, but rows and rows of neatly stacked Astalhamen, cup noodles, Marukan, Shinramya, Nissan, from all over the world, every flavor. I took out a small notebook and solemnly made an entry. Today's review: company cafeteria burger. A bit dry, pickles too sour. Overall score: 6. 5. Emily's homemade lasagna. Hearty flavor, slightly burnt cheese, but boosted by affection. Overall score: 9. 0. Conclusion: Shin Ramyun Black is still the most stable. I closed the notebook, tore open a pack of ramen with satisfaction. Promotion? Raise? Pillar of the company? All fleeting clouds. My biggest dream is to eat every instant noodle in the world and write an encyclopedia of instant noodles. This is Frank Miller's true ambition, story complete.